Will we wake up to a wet morning? Find out in a few minutes.
From your breaking news and weather authority, you're watching News 10 at 11.
Today, the world listened to fired FBI Director James Comey tell his side of the story. And as Blaine Alexander tells us, reaction to that Senate hearing is pouring in from Washington and beyond.
Fired FBI Director James Comey explaining why he documented every conversation with the president.
I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting.
Then the stunning revelation that Comey himself had ordered those memos leaked to the press. To Republicans, unthinkable.
The irony is that the former director of the FBI has always been very annoyed when there are leaks.
Right, of all people.
And then it turns out that he leaked a document himself.
To Democrats, strategic.
I think Director Comey was careful to be clear that he didn't leak classified information.
From the president's personal attorney, a victory lap after Comey said the president was not personally under investigation.
The president feels completely vindicated and is eager to continue moving forward with his agenda.
And on the president's suggestion of recorded conversations between him and Comey,
Lordy, I hope there are tapes.
A renewed push to release them.
Play the tapes for all of America to hear, or admit that there were no tapes.
From President Trump, no mention of today's testimony.
You fought hard for me, and now I'm fighting hard for all of you.
But a defiant message for supporters and critics alike. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Following Comey's testimony, President Trump refused to answer questions while attending a meeting with governors and mayors about his infrastructure program. There were frightening moments this afternoon in Atlanta when a church bus packed with 38 people, most of them high school students, headed to the airport for a ministry mission to Africa, hit another vehicle and flipped. One person was killed, dozens of others were hurt. Dan Shanneman has the very latest.
The bus, loaded with dozens of young people, was traveling to Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport so a church youth group could catch a flight to Africa for a mission trip. Police said the bus and a car collided.
It appears to be a horrific scene.
Video of the scene showed the bus upside down on the side of a parkway. Atlanta Fire and Rescue said one person was killed. Others were taken to local hospitals.
The students and the patients were shaken by the incident. The chaplains were here to comfort them, their families.
2 people were inside the car. Their condition is not known. The bus was from Mount Zion Baptist Church in Huntsville, Alabama. A church official told NBC affiliate WXIA that 11th and 12th grade students, as well as some adults, were on board. Church members have asked for prayer.
Yeah, I had a wife and a son on the bus, so we're taking care of our church family, and then we'll go check on our families, and we know they're all right. We know we've been blessed, and we just pray that you'll pray for the rest of them on the bus and those that aren't in the bus, all in the accident.
The National Transportation Safety Board will investigate the accident. Dan Shenneman, NBC News.
Another warm and breezy day, and of course we're on the edge of the weekend, and now of course we're on the edge of our seats, waiting to see how the rain will hold off. Hi, Andy.
Yeah, we could use some, and I think we get a little timely rain in the morning, but the weekend's still looking really dry and warm, that's for sure. Finally, radar doing its thing. It's picking up what we need badly is rain. Now, the first round of rain showers you see coming in on the west side most likely will dry up to a few sprinkles, but late tonight towards dawn, more of a steadier shower pattern should move in. I wish it was going to be longer than just an hour or two, but that probably is how it will all shape up. You see the rain's getting organized near Green Bay and coming over the lake, so it's more of a morning event, and then in the afternoon we could pick up an isolated shower or maybe a thunderstorm, but they will be widely scattered. There's not much out there to really tell you there's going to be a whole lot of rain. It's that kind of scattered pattern that will be over us for the daytime tomorrow. We're still well in the 60s, 68 in Lansing. The coolest readings in the low 60s. We will stop in the mid to upper 50s tonight. So the mild air is in place. The real hot stuff's out west and coming this way. Temperature right now 67 degrees on campus. In Charlotte, it's 63, and Jackson, pretty mild too at this hour, into the mid 60s. We've got readings that are going well above normal. Roll fast for the weekend. Details coming up.
Thanks, Andy. You know, it's been said you cannot fight City Hall, but one neighborhood group is trying to do just that to protect a local park. They say the city of Lansing's plan to run a road through their park could be dangerous. News 10's Gentile Neal talked to some people who live in the area about their concerns.
Neighbors say Armand Park is relatively narrow and wonder what the city will do to keep the play area safe. The plan calls for the entrance to come off Grand River and extend to Groesbeck Golf Course. Neighbors say it will take away 3 of the 8 acres of the park.
Residents in the area tell me that children often ride their bikes up and down the hill that you see behind me and use the basketball court. But unfortunately, where the city is thinking of putting the entranceway to the golf course, they're not really sure how much area will be left for the safety of the children.
We don't know any of the safety issues. We don't know if we're going to lose our basketball court or if there's provisions to put in more play equipment. There's a lot of concerns that really need to be discussed before we start construction.
Right now, golfers have to drive through several residential streets to get to the golf course. The city says the new entrance will keep traffic off of neighborhood streets and improve visibility to the golf course. But Kathleen and other residents are saying construction on it seems too soon.
I really question the judgment of spending $385,000 of millage money putting in a road through a park when we don't really know what we're going to arrive at yet.
You know, one more doesn't really seem necessary, especially if it's taking out the, the park and the courts and the playground down there with the swings. So, to me, there's plenty of ways to access a golf course without going through Green Street and coming through the park.
They are hoping the mayor will hold off on construction to wait for the new mayor to take office. Fletcher plays in the park and hopes they'll consider how close the entrance is to where he and his friends play.
From what I could tell, it'd just go right next to the basketball court, which, as you can see right now, there's tons of people playing right now.
The mayor's office says the project is moving forward and plans to be completed by the fall. In Lansing, Gentile Nil, News 10.
In a written statement, the mayor's office told us the new entrance to Groesbeck was actually included in the 5-year Parks Master Plan that was approved back in 2015. The statement also said it is the mayor's hope the new entrance to the golf course will attract more golfers, which they say will in turn generate more revenue. Police have once again searched the home of a missing high school teacher in southwestern Michigan and say her disappearance could become a homicide investigation. Police say 44-year-old Teresa Lockhart of Portage was last seen on May 18th. She was reported missing 2 days later by Schoolcraft Community School workers. Her car was found parked a few miles from her home. They once again searched that area near her car this afternoon. Police did not release any new details about today's search. A prosecutor has decided no charges will be sought in the carbon monoxide poisoning death of a 13-year-old boy in the pool of a Niles hotel. He says negligence may have played a role in the April death of Brian Watts at the Niles Quality Inn and Suites, but it did not meet the definition of gross negligence necessary for a criminal charge. About 10 others, mostly children, had to be hospitalized after that incident. Michigan schools would get an additional $60 to $120 in per-student funding under an education budget advanced in the legislature. Lower-funded districts would get a bigger boost, while better-funded districts would get a smaller increase. A legislative conference committee approved that plan today, but changes could be made because Governor Snyder is involved in the budget again after being excluded due to a dispute over teacher pensions. Tonight, at 6 o'clock, we broke down the teacher pension reform proposal. If you missed that story, you can still watch it on our website and our mobile app. Victims of female genital mutilation would get new help under legislation okayed by the State House. The bills could extend the statutes of limitations for victims to 10 years after they turn 18. They would also make it a 15-year felony for performing the act or the transportation of a victim and carry a $25,000 fine. The bills come after Jumana Jarwala, a Detroit area doctor, was accused of conducting genital mutilation on 2 Minnesota girls. It is now headed to the Senate. We, of course, will let you know if it passes. There could be a way to detect autism before symptoms ever appear. We're going to explain that in 7 minutes. Weather Authority Andy Provenzano is back in 9 minutes to tell us if the warm-up will be on the way this coming weekend. But first, a warning tonight for parents about the dangers of a rare condition. What may have caused a 4-year-old's death days after a family swimming trip? That's next on News 10.